Welcome back to my channel, Stitch and Style by me, Nadia, and it's another Friday Sews where I talk about everything that's been going on in my sewing room this week. First of all, let me share what I'm wearing today. And this is the t-shirt that I made recently out of a dress. It's cropped and I'm just wearing it with this little spotty belt and some black jeans. That's nothing fully me made that I'm wearing today, but I have been busy in my sewing room doing a couple of things. The first I'm going to share with you is the Anthea blouse. I'll put it on it in a minute, but first just to share some of the details of the pattern. It comes from a size 00 to size 22, and that's a bust from 31 inches, waist 24 inches, hip 34 inches, to a size 22, 48 inches on the bust, 41 inches on the waist and 51 inches on the hip. I would say that's not quite as size inclusive as other patterns. I cut a size 12, but I graded to a size 10 on the bust. My bust measurement is 37 and my waist is about 30 and my hip is 42. So my bust and waist fell into size 10 and my hip fell in a size 12. But if you go off high bust measurement, this is drafted for a B/C cup. I think that would be around a 2.5 inch difference between the high bust and the bust measurement. So if we just go off straight sizes, I would be a size 10 at the bust, but taking into account that the full bust measurement for the size 10 is a 37, which is my bust, but my high bust is a 36, and this was drafted for a B/C cup. If you take the 2.5 inches off the full bust measurement, it's drafted for somebody with a high bust measurement of 34.5. Whereas my high bust measurement is 36. So I was a little bit concerned that it was going to be a bit too small if I cut the size 10 around my shoulders, because I think I still do need that width. So the size 12 is 38.5 inch on the full bust measurement, but if you take off the 2.5 inches to give you the high bust measurement, that's 36. So my high bust is a size 12. I wanted to cut the shoulders and the top half of the blouse out in a size 12, and then I graded to a size 10 at the bust just to take it in that little bit, and then back out to a size 12 for the hips. It doesn't have any bust darts, so you know there was no real need to do a small bust adjustment. Instead I just graded, as I said. Now I bought the PDF pattern, and I normally have PDF patterns, so yeah, that was all fine. The only thing that was a bit of a head scratcher was the way the pattern pieces fitted together. So yeah, it just took me a little bit of time to work out what I was putting where, but I soon got the hang of it, and yeah, it was all fine. Let me now put on the blouse. So I'm wearing the blouse now, and I'll just stand up and show you. So it's quite loose fitting, and you can see that I've still got plenty of room here, but I think the width across the back here is actually just right for me. So I am glad I did the size 12 at the top, graded to the size 10 here and then back out to the size 12. I've made it in this just plain white Viscose challis material, which I got to maybe use as a lining, but I decided to use it as a twirl for a top that I'm thinking of making to wear with the Winslow culottes that I've made, if you've seen my previous videos, for my sister's wedding party. So I wanted to try all the techniques and everything and to sew it in full. I did it in this thin drapey viscose material. I wanted to see how it worked and everything, and I'm really happy with the finished outcome of it. I took my time on some of the techniques and I think I've done a pretty good job on these like little cuffs, which were quite tricky to do with the viscose material. So as you can see, it's got a slightly curved hem where it comes up at the side and then down again at the back. And I French seamed the whole of the blouse for a nice neat finish on the inside. And I think that works because the top is quite see-through. Actually, I think it makes it look quite neat. You can see my seams at the side, and you can see my seams here and on the sleeve, but that's fine. I'm just wearing a nude coloured bra underneath and a nude coloured spaghetti strap vest, so my modesty is totally protected, and yeah, I think it looks a really pretty blouse, and I love the sleeves. So with the sleeves, I think there's two lengths and I cut the longer length. I also added 2¼ inches to the length of the body of the blouse. Now it's come out a little bit longer than I was expecting, but that means that I can comfortably tuck it in, but without like too much bunching underneath whatever I'm wearing. Maybe if I did it in a cotton material, I might take it a little bit shorter. It's just that this fabric is so delicate and thin, you just don't get any bunching if you decide to tuck it in. The only thing that I found really tricky was doing the buttonholes. So the first one went absolutely perfectly. I thought, oh great. Then I ran into problems, and quite a few of the buttonholes I had to unpick and redo. I was getting the issue where my machine, you start at the bottom left, it goes up, goes across, comes back down. And I was getting the issue where it was going up, but then not going across. So I'd get like a double line of stitching on the left hand side, and none on the right. So I don't know whether it was just the material not moving properly through the machine or what, and so I thought this is just going to turn out into a right mess and I've completely ruined the top. But fortunately, after I got it right, gave it a good press, the buttons are on it, and in the buttonhole you can't really tell. It's just white fabric, white stitching, and so you'd have to be looking pretty close to be able to see. I think I might have weakened the fabric slightly, but as this is only a practice run, I'm not too bothered, and I think I will wear it. For a really hot summer's day, it's an absolutely beautiful top, I think. Very loose and airy, and yeah, very, very happy with the shape and the style of it. I would be absolutely devastated if I made the full blouse, but then I messed up the buttonholes. So I was thinking maybe I should do them first, just to make sure that I've got them right before I make up the full blouse. So that's an option. Or I could just hack it in some way, maybe just to put a yoke on the back, finish it like the sagebrush, which has like a little opening, and then bias binding around the top, which you tie into a bow. Or I could do a button and rouleau loop type closure on the back, I was thinking. So that might be an option instead of doing the buttons down the front. Although I do love button up or down, whichever you choose to say, blouses. Yeah, with the viscose fabric and with my machine, it just did not like it at all. It just did not move well through the machine. So I think it's going to go perfect with the culottes. What I decided to do was I got some really good suggestions from viewers' comments, and I was in two minds about what kind of direction I should go for the blouse. If you watched my last week's video, I was thinking about this blouse and the Tudor blouse, both of which were patterns I didn't already have. But I know that I really wanted to make and wear one of these, so I did purchase this pattern, and I am actually really happy with how it looks with the culottes. What I decided to do was to try on the culottes with various different tops that I already have to see what I think worked best. I also watched quite a lot of styling videos on YouTube about how to style culottes and wide leg pants, and I also went through Instagram feed looking at how people had styled the culottes, and actually that's where I got the idea for the Tudor blouse from, because somebody had styled it with the Tudor blouse and I thought it looked really, really pretty. They were wearing a belt, and I think that also inspired me to think about a belt. So I've tried on this with the culottes, and I really love how it balances out my top to the bottom, because it's all in like the same material. This is in like a viscose twill. It's a little bit heavier than this, but I like how it's kind of like the same material with the same kind of drape on it, and it just kind of flows from the top to the bottom. And I got this belt here, a wide belt, to put with the outfit. Now I'm not going to show you today, but next week, or maybe the week after, when I've had chance to make this blouse in the material I had picked out for my wedding outfit, so this material here, when I've made this, and I will show you the full outfit with the belt, my hat, my shoes and bag. So hopefully you'll tune back in to see me style my outfit for the wedding. I think that's all I've got to say about this blouse. Just to mention, I did get the fabric from Minerva fabrics, and I will link it below. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this material. It's fine, but as you've seen, it's quite see-through, so you just need to be aware of that if you were buying it. The other thing that I've done this week is a couple of alterations, just to make some of the clothes in my wardrobe a little bit more wearable. In fact, I was thinking of giving this first thing that I'm going to show you away to a charity shop. I don't know 100% if charity shop accept homemade clothes, but in my opinion you can't tell it's homemade. Now it's just this Lego tank by Itch to Stitch. It's a free pattern, and this dress was inspired by Made by Kath Crafts So Frugal entry from last year when it was called Frugal Frocks, and she made the Lego tank in a stripy fabric, and I think she put on the Tabitha t-shirt dress skirt to it and followed the Tabitha t-shirt dress method for attaching it and everything. And that's what I did with this one. So obviously it's over a year old, and I've not worn it that much because the waist on it, the elastic at the waist, felt a little bit high for me, and it just felt in the wrong place. I had a little bit of room where I'd attached it to lower the elastic at the waistband, so I unpicked it all and redid it. Now it didn't go, that sounds like a really quick and easy job, but trust me, it wasn't. It was quite a tricky thing to do, and I tried to use a different method that didn't work, and then I had to unpick all that and reattach it, and I had spent ages messing around with the elastic trying to get it through the waistband because the channel that I had created was a little bit small for the elastic. Anyway, so but that has made this dress now a lot more wearable, so I'm glad I took the time to do that alteration. Now a while ago I tried out a little bit of a styling video. I would like to do a little bit more styling content, but I find it really tricky to get enough space with enough light to do it in my house. So that's why I tend to kind of show you in the mirror and me panning up and down with the camera. It's hard to get full length me because I'm doing it on my own as well. Maybe I need to use a tripod or something, but I'm really interested in doing kind of that more of that style content. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert on styling, but just to show people how I would style different pieces, because we make a lot of clothing and I'm really interested in how we style that clothing. And like with the culottes, I'd love to do a styling video on the culottes. I actually had a bit of a fun time just playing with different outfits to decide what blouse I wanted to make to wear with it, and yeah, I'd like to share some of that content. Just getting back to the point, I did a bit of a styling video where I styled up, and one of the styles included this next dress that I'm going to show you, but I struggled to style it with the boots that I had because the dress was a little bit too long, and that styling video made me realise that actually I find a midi length dress more wearable than a full-on maxi. Yeah, I had a comment from another of my lovely viewers who said maybe you should just take it up a bit, and that's what I've eventually got round to doing this week, is just to take this and this is the dress. It's a Hinterland, which you all will know by now is my favourite dress pattern. This is one I made quite a while ago. It's not had the small bust adjustment, so you can tell it's a little bit big on the bodice for me, but I've got waist ties and that brings it in, and it's got the gathered skirt on and a gathered tier on there. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it's kind of there. So, and it's short sleeves, but I think I'm really going to enjoy wearing this in the summer. And I think I'm going to get a little bit more use out of it now it's a midi rather than a maxi. Now, the next little bit of my vlog comes to you by request from the lovely Anna, You Got Me in Stitches, who requested to see if you saw my Friday sews last week, the Jackson tee modelled by my husband. So if you watched last week, you'll see that I made a Jackson tee and I colour blocked it to fit it out of the material I had left over from making him one colour t-shirts. I have actually made him another this week, and Anna, as I was saying, she requested that my husband model it, but if he didn't want to be on camera, then I'll take the pictures without showing his face. And I asked him, and he very kindly agreed to do a little bit of modelling. Now, it's not the most inspiring backdrop, but I have got a picture of him in the one that I made last week, and a little video of him wearing the one I made this week, just twirling around. Now, I must apologise, I actually had got the sizes wrong last time when I mentioned the Jackson tee, although I did put the correct sizes in the description below my video. So I will just give you the measurements again now. It actually goes from a size 0 to a size 34, which is from chest 35 and hips 37 up to chest 64 and hips 67. So really size inclusive pattern. It's also a gender inclusive pattern. I just went off my husband's measurements for everything. I can't remember what my husband's measurements were, and I don't have a record of those, but I definitely graded in at the hips, because as you'll see from the photos, my husband is quite broad shouldered, but then he has got quite narrow hips. So yeah, I tweaked around with the pattern. You probably wouldn't recognise the pattern from this one. The other thing that I also did, I mentioned last week, I did a broad shoulder adjustment for him. I lengthened the arm side, I lengthened the body of the t-shirt. I also raised the front neckline to come up a little bit higher for him. And one of my lovely viewers also recommended that I sew knickers with the scraps, which is something that I've definitely put on my to-do list to get done, and to learn how to do knickers. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea, so thanks for your suggestion. And I really appreciate every one of my viewers, and your feedback is so lovely and positive. It really encourages me to share every week and to do these little vlogs for you. I was so excited when I got my first 2 subscribers to my channel. I was jumping up and down. It was so exciting, and I do really appreciate every single one of you who has subscribed. I've now got 300 subscribers, which absolutely blows my mind. I don't know whether I'm going to jump straight in to do another Anthea Helen blouse, whether I'm going to have a little bit of a break from that. So we'll have to see what I decide for next week. I've also got the Barry and the Bobs on my mind, making trousers, and the Chandlers, so I'm quite feeling making a pair of trousers next, but you'll have to see in the next Friday sews what I get up to. I hope everybody has a lovely weekend and I'll see you next week. Bye now.